Hello everyone. Today's lesson is about the literary device of tone. You might wonder what the term tone stands for and what learning outcomes you will be able to learn. Well, let's go ahead and see what we're talking about. By the end of this session, you will be able to understand writer's tone, determine the tone in a piece of writing, identify tone, and use it effectively in your own writing. Now we come to what the term tone is. We've all heard the saying, it's not what you say, but how you say. Let's examine the two photos to figure out what we really mean. Look at the two teachers, at their body language, and listen to each teacher saying the same sentence. Thanks for being on time. Thanks for being on time. Actually, each teacher uses a different pitch, which indicates a different attitude. One is happy and excited, while the other one might be angry and sarcastic. Thus, what you say and how you say it is different when the audience and the situations are different. And that difference is the attitude or tone. So, the tone is the attitude. This is in speaking. Similarly, in writing, tone is not just what we write, but how we write it. Let's move on to define the term tone. What exactly is a tone? That's a good question. Tone is the writer's attitude toward his topic, his character, or toward his reading audience. So, it's the attitude the author takes. It's his way of thinking toward the topic, character, or audience. Why is it important? It's important because it will influence how the reader feels about the characters, events, and outcomes. It can also help readers identify the message or the reason why the writer is writing. How is tone described? When we describe a tone, we must use adjectives. Only adjectives, such as outraged, excited, cheerful, doubtful, vindictive, and so on. Tone is as diverse as our emotions. It can convey the positive, the negative, and the neutral. It can be positive like grateful, encouraging, caring, tolerant, warm, supporting, sentimental, optimistic. It can be negative as angry, insulting, worried, critical, mocking, conceited, doubtful, pessimistic. It can also be neutral as objective, direct, straightforward, indirect, matter-of-fact, impartial. Yet, we need to figure out how to identify tone in order not to be confused. Why is the writer's tone hard to identify? It is difficult to identify as a reader cannot actually hear the writer. Readers must rely on the words to infer the writer's attitude. It's not directly stated because it's the quality of language that is suggested or implied. Let's move on to see how the writer's tone can be determined. How can a tone be identified? It's understood through the author's word choice and sentence structure. First, word choice or diction plays an important role in determining a tone. One must pay attention to connotations or denotations of words. What do we mean by connotations and denotations? A connotation is the feelings associated with a word. A denotation is the dictionary definition of a word. Both connotations and denotations can help you identify the tone as positive, negative, or neutral. Second, sentence structure or syntax that enables you analyze how the writer organizes his ideas or phrases to describe events. For instance, does the writer use conditionals, passive, active, many metaphors, or lay out facts? Here, a reader must read between the lines and make inference to feel the author's attitude. Remember, everything an author does is on purpose. It's time to practice. It's time to understand the writer's tone. Let's say you were invited to someone's party. Here are a few examples of tones that can be employed in a response. The word choice and the sentence structure reveal different tones in the following answers. Let's see how. Thanks for inviting me. Yes, my heart is leaping with joy. Yeah, see you at the party. This is to inform you that I'm going to join you at the party. I have no clue. Have you really thought this through? It's a pity I can't go. Okay. In number 1, the word thanks indicates a kind of appreciation, so the tone is appreciative. In number 2, the use of this phrase, leaping with joy, indicates that the writer is joyful. In number 3, the use of slang yeah changes the tone to informal, while in number 4, the use of to inform refers to how formal the writer is. In number 5, no clue. These words give the reader an idea that the writer is confused. In number 6, thought this through, this phrase reveals that the writer is doubtful. In number 7, the word pity tells us that he feels sorry for not joining. He's really regretful. In number 8, it's neutral. The writer expresses no feeling, but he just says, okay. Let's move on to more practice with more justification. Here we have 3 sentences that are talking about the same thing, but the tone of voice is different. Let's read them. The Minister of Health will be remembered for his ridiculous idea to force his healthcare plan upon everyone. The Minister of Health will be remembered for his compassionate plan to provide health care. The Minister of Health proposed the National Health Care of Plan. In number 1, the words ridiculous and force are added to give a very negative tone of voice. It's clear that the writer is against finding fault in the plan, so the tone is simply critical. In number 2, can you see the difference in the tone of voice that is used just by adding the words compassionate and provide? These words reveal his caring and concern, so the tone is concerned and caring. In number 3, the writer presents the fact. You can see that the writer just informs and that there is no emotion, so it's a matter of fact. Dear students, stick around and let's see how we identify the author's tone in paragraphs. We have 2 paragraphs. Let's start reading the first one. The big uncertainty, says Chris, another market research firm, is how a switch to digital will alter consumer behavior. Sharing is easier with digital images, but printing is harder. Will digital users take more pictures, but print fewer of them? Might the PC or television screen become dominant means of displaying images? Nobody knows. The writer's tone is uncertain, doubtful, skeptic, and unsure. But we have to justify. How to justify? As we have said, we have to look at the word choice and the sentence structure. Let's see. Big uncertainty, nobody knows, are words that indicate that the writer is uncertain, doubtful, skeptic, and unsure. Also, the sentence structure, the comparison and contrast, for instance, sharing is easier, but printing is harder. And the two rhetorical questions, will digital users take more pictures? Might the PC or television screen? And so on. All of these indicate that the writer is unsure or uncertain. Let's move to number 2. Please turn your attention to the writer's tone in paragraph 2. Sometimes we have two types of tones in the same paragraph because the writer may start positively or negatively, and then he may skip to reveal a very different attitude, just as what we have in the following paragraph. Let's see. Finding life on Mars obviously would be thrilling. It would, in a small way, ease our loneliness. In addition, it might illuminate that great mystery, the origin of life on Earth. But the possibility of life on Mars also suggests that we should approach the place with caution. If something is living there, then bringing Martian rocks back to Earth, which NASA hopes to do so within the next 10 years or so, could be a mistake if not undertaken very carefully. The writer seems optimistic, hopeful, and positive, but at the same time cautious, critical, and skeptic. Let's justify. In the first part, the writer uses thrilling, ease our loneliness, illuminate. All these indicate that the writer is hopeful, optimistic, and positive. While in the second part, the writer uses with caution, mistake could be a mistake, if not undertaken very carefully, and even the sentence structure. All these reveal that the writer is cautious, critical, and skeptic. Do you see how the writer has two different attitudes in the same paragraph? Finally, let's emphasize the main points. The choice of words and the way sentences put together convey the tone. The tone can be positive, negative, or neutral. Determining the tone helps you understand not only the words you are reading, but also the attitude the author is conveying. When identifying the tone, you have to describe author's attitude using adjectives plus justification. Thank you for your attention and hope you enjoy your time.